Shadows in the courtroom. Lila Marquardt was no stranger to balancing chaos. As a single mother and a tenacious lawyer in the bustling city of Boston, her life was a constant juggle of courtroom drama and teenage rebellion. Her 16-year-old daughter, Emma, was the firebrand that kept Lila's personal life as complicated as her professional one. The strain was constant, but Lila had always managed to push through, relying on her unyielding determination and love for Emma. However, nothing could have prepared her for the case that would test not just her legal prowess but her very identity. It started on a gray Monday morning, the kind of day that promised little more than monotony and headaches. Lila was handed a file for a high-profile custody case involving a wealthy real estate mogul, Victor Ashford, and his estranged wife, Camille. The stakes were high. Victor was fighting for full custody of their 10-year-old son, claiming Camille was unfit due to her alleged substance abuse and erratic behavior. As Lila skimmed the file, she couldn't shake the feeling of familiarity. Camille's story struck a nerve. A woman battling accusations, standing on the precipice of losing her child. It mirrored the threats Lila had faced years ago when Emma's father tried to take her away. She hadn't lost that battle, but the scars remained. "Mom, I need $20. Emma's voice pierced through Lila's thoughts. Without looking up, Lila replied, "For what? Does it matter? I just need it," Emma snapped. Lila sighed, pulling a bill from her wallet. "Be home by 9. No exceptions." Emma rolled her eyes, grabbing the money. "Yeah, sure," she muttered before slamming the door behind her. The tension between them had been escalating for weeks, and Lila knew Emma was testing boundaries. She just didn't have the energy to confront it. Not yet. As the trial began, Lila dove headfirst into Camille's defense. The evidence against her client was damning. Photographs of a disheveled Camille leaving bars late at night, testimony from neighbors about loud arguments, and a damning police report from an incident where Victor claimed she'd struck him in front of their son. But Camille insisted she was innocent. "Victor set me up," she said, her voice trembling. "He wants our son to think I'm a monster. But I'm not. Please, Ms. Marquardt, you have to believe me." Lila believed her. She saw through the carefully curated narrative Victor's legal team had constructed. It was too polished, too perfect. Lila's instincts told her there was more to the story. As the case unfolded, Lila's personal life unraveled. Emma's rebellion reached new heights. One evening, Lila received a call from the police. Emma had been caught shoplifting. Standing in the fluorescent-lit police station, Lila's frustration boiled over. "What were you thinking?" she demanded. Emma crossed her arms, her defiance unwavering. "You don't get it. You're too busy saving everyone else's kids to notice me." The words hit Lila like a punch to the gut. She wanted to argue, to explain how hard she was trying, but the exhaustion silenced her. Instead, she signed the necessary paperwork and drove them home in silence. Back in the courtroom, Lila began to uncover cracks in Victor's story. A former nanny came forward, revealing that Victor had pressured her to lie about Camille's behavior. Financial records showed that Victor had made several payments to a private investigator who specialized in fabricating evidence. The turning point came when Lila subpoenaed Victor's business records. They revealed a web of financial misconduct, including offshore accounts and illegal investments. Victor's pristine image began to crumble, and the judge took notice. But just as Lila felt the tide turning, Camille dropped a bombshell. "I need to tell you something," Camille said during a late-night meeting. Her face was pale, her hands trembling. "Victor didn't just want to destroy me. He threatened our son. If I didn't agree to give up custody, he said he'd send me to jail and take our son far away." Lila's breath caught. "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" "I was scared. He has connections, power. I thought no one would believe me." The revelation reignited Lila's determination. She called in every favor, gathering evidence to corroborate Camille's claims. Witnesses who had been too afraid to speak before came forward, describing Victor's manipulative tactics and violent temper. In the final days of the trial, Victor took the stand. Lila's cross-examination was relentless. She exposed his lies, his financial crimes, and his coercion. The courtroom was silent as Victor's facade shattered. Camille won custody, and for the first time in months, Lila allowed herself to breathe. That evening, as Lila sat on the couch with a glass of wine, Emma walked in. She hesitated before sitting beside her mother. "I saw the news," Emma said. "You won." Lila nodded. "I did." There was a pause, heavy with unspoken words. Finally, Emma said, "I'm sorry. For the shoplifting. For everything." Lila set her glass down, pulling Emma into a hug. "I'm sorry too. I've been so focused on work that I forgot the most important case of all." Emma pulled back, her eyes shining. "I just wanted you to notice me." "I do," Lila said softly. "And I always will." Weeks later, Lila received a thank-you note from Camille, along with a photograph of her and her son, smiling in a sunlit park. The image filled Lila with a sense of purpose. She had fought for Camille, not just as a lawyer but as a mother who understood the stakes. And as she watched Emma studying at the kitchen table, Lila knew she would fight for her daughter just as fiercely. Life was messy, full of highs and lows, but it was worth every battle. For in the end, it was love, messy, complicated, and unconditional, that made it all worthwhile.